Back to the program, Lou and Jackie here, along with our good friend Kim Baer.
That's right.
We're talking about something that unfortunately there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to have to deal with, especially with the weather doing what it's doing outside right now.
Yes, yes. So I thought with the winter weather coming in, we'd talk about car accidents today. And we've talked about car accidents a lot in the past. So what I tried to do for today was just to kind of pick out some tips that maybe we should highlight for people that they might not know. So the first one I thought I'd just touch on is, you know, believe it or not, there's still some people that don't wear seat belts regularly. And what you need to know is that if you're in an accident and you weren't wearing your seat belt, that you can be found to be 5% negligent. So there's a statute that actually says that, you know, it doesn't matter that your seat belt, like if I rear-ended you and you're not wearing your seat belt had nothing to do with causing the accident.
But right off the bat.
Because, you know, maybe now you're going to hit your head or you're going to go through the windshield because you didn't have your seat belt on. So you just need to know that not only you can have your personal choice and not wear your seatbelt and, you know, and really break the law, but you also need to know that if you get into an accident and it's not your fault, you still can be attributed 5% negligence.
So what does that mean when you say 5% negligence?
So let's say that I rear-end you, and let's say that we agree that your damages are $10,000. So 5% of that I would not pay you because 5% is your fault.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So you lose that money right from the get-go.
Well, and insurance adjusters are on top of that. One of the first things they always look is to see whether or not anybody got a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt. So, or was might have mentioned in the report no seatbelt.
Got it.
Okay.
So, and then the other thing that people are always worried about. So, if you're in a car accident and you're not working, you know, because you're really hurt, they are hesitant to call a lawyer because they say, "Well, I don't have any money to hire a lawyer." And so, one of the things that people need to know is that most lawyers do this on contingency fee, and what that means is that you hire a lawyer, and a lawyer does not get paid until they recover money for you. So it doesn't cost you anything out of pocket. So you just need to know that if you need a lawyer, call one. You can get one. It's not going to cost you anything out of your pocket. You know, we'd much rather have you call somebody, you know, sooner rather than later, so that we can get you good advice at the beginning of the accident, or you know, beginning of the process.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right, and then this is something you and I were just talking about off air. With regard to settlement money, is it taxable? And for the most part, it's not going to be taxable.
It's not.
It's not, with the exception of if you recover money for lost wages. Obviously, if you'd been paid those wages, that would have been taxed. So what we always try to do is we always try to keep a real good eye when we settle a case. And if there are lost wages, we either want to allocate money. So for instance, Jackie, let's use our example earlier. Let's say it was $10,000.
Okay.
And maybe 500 of that or 1,000 is lost wages. We want to make sure in the settlement agreement that we spell that out.
So it's $1,000
So
for
that's
lost
the only
wages.
part that gets taxed.
Exactly, because you don't want to have to pay taxes on all of it.
No.
Because it shouldn't be taxed. So money for medical bills and pain and suffering is not taxable.
Okay.
But the money that you would receive for lost wages would be. So we just want to make sure we break that out.
I never knew that. Okay.
No, I didn't either.
Okay.
I hope the right people are doing the
I hope I don't
right
ever have
thing.
to learn that. Yeah.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Hopefully you'll never have to deal with it. You know, then the other thing that we have talked about in the past. So, you know, right away after the car accident, if I rear-end you and you're hurt, my insurance company is going to start calling you right away because they want to first of all, they want to find out what happened from your point of view, and they want to know if you're hurt, and if you're hurt, are you getting treatment? And so they're going to keep checking in with you because, you know, they want to get that claim settled, and they want to do it quickly, and they want to get it off their books.
They want to close it out as soon as they can.
They want to close it out as soon as they can. And, you know, and so the sad thing is, let's say you're not working. Let's say that you're not able to come here and work, and so you're off work for a couple of weeks, and you're hurting for money. You might be inclined to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and settle and just take this money, and I'll call them later if I still need medical care. That is not how it works.
Right.
When you're done, you're done.
Done.
Yes. So when you settle, whatever that amount of money is, that's all you're going to get.
Case closed.
Case is closed.
All right.
Yes. So don't. Now, but a good point to also make is, let's say that, so I rear-end you and your car needs to be fixed. It is fine for you to go on ahead and negotiate with my insurance company and get your car fixed. That's completely separate from your personal injury. So you don't need to have an attorney to handle that. Some attorneys do want to be involved in the whole thing, but we tell people, look, we'll give you some tips on how to negotiate getting your car fixed, but you just need to know that you're not waiving any of your rights with regard to personal injury and your medical bills if you go ahead and settle your
car situation.
Exactly.
So getting your car fixed is one thing, getting you fixed is something else.
Exactly, that's exactly right.
Okay.
We've talked about this before, so let's say that you're trying to get your car fixed. You want to make sure that you look on Kelley Blue Book, that you make sure that you let the adjuster know. Maybe you just put new tires on the car. That's going to increase the value.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe maybe you've got a really fancy stereo in there that's something that's really cool. And so you want to make sure that you really have a good handle on what is the value of your car. And usually the first offer from the adjuster for your car is not the last offer for the
They're willing
car.
To wheel and deal. They know that's coming.
They know that's coming. They know that's coming. And people forget too. Let's say that you're really hurt, and so you had on your favorite very expensive jacket, and somehow it got ripped in the accident. That's recoverable.
Oh, it is?
Yes. So any clothing, your phone, if your laptop goes flying, so anything that's in the car that's personal property that is damaged.
I never would have thought of that.
So
that's all part of the auto insurance.
That's all part of it. It's all part of the personal property.
Let's go back to how we were talking about lost wages, and let's say you've gotten hurt to the point where you can't work for a while, and your spouse is taking care of you because they need to. Maybe you're out of the hospital, but your spouse is taking care of you. Are they getting reimbursed for anything that's happening throughout this situation?
Yeah, that's a great claim, or that's a great question, Jackie. So that's called a consortium claim. And so it's loss of consortium, and what that includes is
that emotional or just financial?
It's really everything. It's really everything. So if you and I are married and I have to take time off of work and take care of you, and maybe you always do the grocery shopping and now I got to do the grocery shopping. Maybe you always do the lawn care and now I have to do the lawn care. So any way that it's affecting my life, and maybe because you're in so much pain, you're really difficult and mean and depressed. And so you're not as fun as what you used to be. And so that also affects our relationship. So anything that's affecting our relationship and kind of has changed my life because of the accident is kind of loss of consortium. It's also it's really how has it affected our relationship, the support that I have to give you, so that might be short term, it might be long term.
Well, now let's take that a step further. Let's say that you're doing that and maybe you do have a significant other that is working and you cannot cut the grass yourself and you have to hire that out.
Right.
Now, does that come into play too then?
Yes, that comes into play as well. So you want to make sure that you keep all those bills and so that you can recover those from the adjuster as well. Mileage is something you want to keep track of. Let's say you've got to go back and forth to the doctor a lot. And for people that live in rural parts of Iowa, they might be traveling to Des Moines quite a bit, depending on, or maybe you're going up to Mayo. So you just want to make sure you keep track of the lost wages, the mileage, anything you spend out of pocket. With regard to medical bills, don't forget, what are you paying? Do you have a copay? We got to make sure we keep track of all of that. Is there medical equipment you had to pay for? So keep track of all of that stuff.
Now, how long do you have to keep track of all that stuff?
Until you settle the claim. So just make sure you keep track of it. Now you have 2 years from the date of the accident to actually file a lawsuit. So you can negotiate. Now we have a term in my office called last minute Lucy, and we don't like to be last minute Lucy's. So if somebody,
but it happens a lot.
It happens. I mean, but we like to give ourselves at least 30 days before the statute and get something on file, just in case there's an issue. So if you haven't contacted a lawyer and you're bumping up against that statute, you're going to want to get a hold of somebody if you think you need to file a lawsuit.
And it's important to keep track of all of that information, especially if it comes to medical, because eventually you have to pay that back, whether that's through what you get or out of your own pocket, correct?
You do. And a lot of people don't realize that. I just was talking to somebody yesterday who had a claim they'd handled themselves and they'd gotten a big settlement, almost $300,000. They thought that was great.
Right.
And they did not realize that they had to pay the hospital back.
Oh, wow.
As well as the medical insurance back. And they said by the time it was all done, it ate up 2/3 of the money.
Right.
So you want to be aware that you do have to pay your medical bills out of that money.
Right.
And if your health insurance paid for your medical bills, you have to pay the health insurance company back.
You do. So the health insurance, when they pay it off, that's not scot-free.
Exactly.
It has to go back.
Right. So if you're negotiating it yourself, make sure you know that.
Wow.
If you hire an attorney, the attorney will know that.
That's why you hire an attorney.
That's why you hire an attorney. attorney. That's what we're learning today.
Because they know all that. They remember all that.
And unfortunately, accidents happen, and as we said, especially when the roads are going to get a little more slick. We know it's going to happen. It already happened this past weekend, a little bit more north of us, and we heard this morning from Taylor Canoes a little bit further east of us. So drive safely, first of all, but sometimes accidents happen, and when they do, Kim, it's good to call a lawyer.
Yeah, just give us a call. You can come in and have a cup of coffee, and we'll chat about it. Or if you already have an attorney, just get in touch with them.
Okay,
yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Great advice this morning. We appreciate it very much.
Here's how you get a hold of Kim. Really easy to get off of a 235 right there and within a block.
Yeah,
right there. Plenty of parking right outside.
Free parking.
Okay,
Yep.
Boom.
That's perfect. Wonderful. Good to see you, Kim.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
All right, it is 7:30.